Good morning to all and welcome to the session, the Hindu Editorial Analysis for Proficiency in English. Today's editorial is all about the war between Russia and the Ukraine. Not too many words to learn from this editorial and not a very unfamiliar editorial we have done already a few times. Let us go to the editorial vocabulary and see what is there to learn. The very first word, relentless, part of speech, adjective, continuing in a severe or extreme way. Usually, the word relentless goes with efforts. We say relentless efforts means what? Continuing in a severe or extreme way. You put in a lot of effort, relentless efforts. In this context, relentless war. The editorial starts with the word relentless, relentless war, an important word. A veto, part of speech, noun, and it could be an adjective as well. A constitutional right to reject a decision or proposal made by a lawmaking body. Someone makes a law or someone a law has been made by a lawmaking body and someone has a constitutional right to reject at the fag end of the whole thing. Then we use the term a veto, an important word. Unanimous, we have got many a time. Part of speech, adjective. Of two or more people, usually a lot of people, not two, more than two, fully in agreement without any division of opinion, everyone agrees on something, then we say unanimous opinion. Step up, a phrasal verb. Increase the amount, speed, or intensity of something. Usually it goes with intensity. Speed up something. Step up, an important phrasal verb. Grind on. Grind could be a noun, it could be a verb, but usually grind, ground. Ground could be a noun, ground could be a verb. Here, grind on, a phrasal verb. Continue for a long time in a varying or tedious way. Tedious means tiresome. Continue something for a long time in a varying or tedious way. Vary also means to get tired, tedious, tedious journey, a typical example. Galvanize, an important word. Shock or excite someone into taking action. You shock someone or excite someone into taking action, then we use the term galvanize, part of speech, a verb. It's a regular verb. Rational, rationality, rational, part of speech, adjective, based on or in accordance with a reason or logic. When you do something, when you take a decision, if it is based on reason, it is based on logic, we use the word rational and rationality. If someone takes a decision or does something not based on reason, not based on logic, then we say he has taken or he has done it on his whims and fancies. Whims and fancies means spontaneous, emotional, not based on reason, not based on logic. To do something on whims and fancies is an important idiomatic expression. Incremental, part of speech, adjective, happening gradually in a series of small amounts. Gradually and series of small amounts, incremental gains, incremental progress. Stalemate, checkmate goes with chess. Here, stalemate, part of speech, noun, a situation in which further action or progress by opposing or competing parties seems impossible. You don't see the progress, then we use the term stalemate, like a dead end. Confrontation, a common error, some people say direct confrontation. That is not correct. Confrontation is always direct. We should not use the word direct before confrontation, then it becomes redundancy. Confrontation, a hostile or argumentative situation or meeting coming face to face between opposing parties. Two opposing parties come, they meet, then we say confrontation. Off ramp, the word ramp usually goes with a fashion show. The models walk on a ramp. Here, off ramp has nothing to do with the fashion show. It means, part of speech, noun, a short road on which vehicles leave a highway or other main road. Imagine there's a highway, the vehicles leave the highway and go take a short road. That is known as off ramp. In this context, it talks about stopping the war and looking at the solution. And one more word, escalate. From this we get escalators. Escalate means what? Part of speech verb. Increase rapidly. How does the editorial start? Relentless war. As I said, the very first word, relentless, continuing in a severe or extreme way. And here the combination war, but usually the word relentless goes with efforts to get success in a highly competitive world. Cutthroat competition is there, dog eat dog days. You have to put in relentless efforts. Means what? Continuous efforts. Ramp walk, that's right. On Russia-Ukraine crisis. Again, you have to recollect some countries, usually before any country, we should not use any article. But English, we have rules, we have exceptions. Before countries like the US, the UK, the Netherlands, the Philippines, the Ukraine, the Netherlands, the Irish Republic, the Philippines, the UAE, the Ukraine. Ukraine also, we have to use a definite article, the crisis. Again, you have to recollect crisis singular, crisis plural. You can easily make out Russia should support the UN Secretary General's peace mission and end the attacks. Russia has been attacking the Ukraine, we all know that. Now, based on that, against that backdrop, the main idea of the editorial, Russia should support the UN Secretary General's peace mission, should not oppose, should support. What is the use of the helping verb should? It has two functions. One, it is used to advise or suggest someone. The other, it is used to express a possibility, but the chances are less. Russia should support. Here, it is more like advise. Russia should support the UN Secretary General's peace mission and end the attacks. Russia has to stop the attacks and it has to support the UN Secretary General's peace mission. A lot of people have been dying. In the recent incident, also, 60 people who took shelter in a school, they got killed. Over 2 months, now 2 months, that is pretty long. A war usually for a short period, perhaps a week or 10 days, maximum 1 month. Now it has been almost 2 months. Over 2 months after Russia's invasion of the Ukraine began, the UN Security Council finally managed to issue a statement calling for a peaceful solution and backing the efforts of Secretary General Antonio Guterres in this direction. This talks about a statement issued by the UN Security Council and the council managed to issue a statement calling for a peaceful solution. It has been 2 months, that is pretty long. And based on that, over 2 months after Russia's invasion of Ukraine began, the UN Security Council finally managed, means before they could not, finally managed to issue a statement calling for a peaceful solution and backing the efforts of Secretary General Antonio Guterres in this direction. The Secretary General has been putting in a lot of efforts. The UN Security Council has backed. It has managed to give a statement, issue a statement calling for a peaceful solution and also backing the efforts of the Secretary General in that direction. While a carefully drafted statement, the first sentence talks about a statement, continuation of the same thing. While the carefully drafted statement avoided any reference to war, invasion, or conflict, all are negative words. The fact that the 15 members of the Council, including Russia, which has veto power, unanimously agreed to the call for peace shows that all sides are feeling the heat of the conflict. A lengthy sentence, but what does it talk about? This draft, it talks about the draft. In that particular draft, words like war, invasion, conflict have been avoided. That is one thing. And also the fact that 15 members of the council, and that includes Russia, they all agreed unanimously without any difference of opinion to the call for peace. This stand taken unanimously by all the members, 15 members, including Russia, shows that all sides are feeling the heat of the conflict, means the impact, the negative impact of the conflict. So this talks about the statement. In that statement, all the negative words have been avoided, one thing. And also the 15 members, including Russia, which has veto power, means what? A constitutional right to reject a decision or proposal made by a lawmaking body. Unanimously here adverb, but unanimous adjective. Of two or more people, usually more than two people, fully in agreement, agreed to the call for peace shows that they all agreed for peace, call for peace, and it shows that all sides, including Russia, feeling the heat of the conflict, the impact of the war. Going by the votes in the UN General Assembly, international public opinion is heavily against the war, and the UNSC is expected to do more to bring the violence to an end. Going by the votes means what? Considering the votes in the UN General Assembly, international public opinion is heavily against the war. No one supports the war, obviously. The international opinion, public opinion, is heavily against the war, and the UNSC is expected to do more to bring the violence to an end. More is expected from the United Nations Security Council. The statement was issued a week after Mr. Guterres held talks with Presidents Vladimir Putin and Volodymyr Zelensky in Moscow and Kyiv, respectively. This was issued after the talks. The Secretary General held talks with the presidents of Russia and the Ukraine. But his mission would be successful only if the parties concerned showed seriousness in ending the war. His mission, he has a mission to create peace, that is one thing, but his mission would be successful only if the parties concerned. A common error, a lot of people say concerned officer, not correct, officer concerned. You have to recollect that, showed seriousness in ending the war. Talks one thing, statement another thing, but finally the stakeholders, Russia and Ukraine, the countries, they should, the parties concerned, they have to show seriousness in ending the war. Only then we can expect the talks to be successful. As of now, neither exists beyond statements. Neither, again, neither, neither, either way it is correct. Negative connotation. She knows neither Hindi nor English. What does it mean? She doesn't know English, she doesn't know Hindi. That way, as of now, the present scenario, neither exists beyond statements, restricted only to statements. For example, how to justify this sentence? It does not go beyond statements. That means only restricted to statements. In implementation, they are not doing that. To justify that sentence or statement, for example, Russia stepped up attacks in Ukraine after the UNSC statement was issued. After the statement was issued, Russia stepped up attacks in Ukraine. Step up means what? Increase the amount, speed, or intensity of something. In this context, intensity of attacks. On Sunday, 60 people were killed in Luhansk. Very unfortunate. On Monday, Mr. Putin, in his Victory Day address marking the Soviet triumph over German Nazis, claimed that the Russian troops were defending the motherland, indicating that the war will grind on. This sentence talks about the statement given by Russian president, and also it indicated that the war will grind on. An important phrasal verb. Grind on means continue for a long time in a wearying or tedious way, tiresome way. On Monday, Mr. Putin, in his Victory Day address, marking the Soviet triumph, means what? Victory over German Nazis, claimed that the Russian troops were defending the motherland, indicating that the war will grind on. When he ordered the special military operation for what he called the demilitarization and denazification of Ukraine, Mr. Putin must have expected a quick victory. That's what he must have thought. The victory would be quick, within no time. The sentence talks about the same thing. When they started, when the Russian president started, he ordered the special military operation for what he called that special military operation demilitarization and denazification of Ukraine. He must have expected a quick victory, but Ukraine's resistance did not only deny the Russians this, Ukraine started resisting in a great way, but Ukraine's resistance did not only deny the Russians this, that means the victory, but also galvanized Western support. Again, you have to become alert whenever you come across not only but also. This goes with parallel expression. Not only deny, but also galvanized. We have to use the same grammatical unit when it comes to parallel expression, not only deny the Russians this, but also galvanized Western support. They should have used the verb in the same form, but anyhow, the meaning of the word galvanize, shock or excite someone into taking action. In this context, Western support. When Western financial and military aid hardened the Ukrainian resistance, the Russian troops, despite their incremental territorial gains in eastern and southern Ukraine, appeared to have got stuck in the battlefield. Russians have progressed. They got incremental territorial gains. There's one important word, incremental. What does it mean? Happening gradually in a series of small amounts. When Western financial and military aid, the West started supporting the Ukraine in the form of, it could be financial, it could be military. When Western financial and military aid hardened the Ukraine resistance, based on the support the Ukraine could resist, the hardened the Ukrainian resistance, the Russian troops, despite, again you have to recollect, it does not take the preposition of, and in spite of, we have to use three separate words. Despite the incremental territorial gains, small gains, in eastern and southern Ukraine appeared to have got stuck in the battlefield. Beyond that, no progress. The stalemate, an important word, a situation in which further action or progress by opposing or competing parties seems impossible. Beyond a point, there is no progress, then we say it has resulted in a stalemate. The stalemate has increased the risks of a wider conflict. What is that wider? Risks of a wider conflict. The US now seems to I'm sorry. The US now seems determined to weaken Russia, as Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin has said. Now, based on all this, the US now seems determined to weaken Russia. Weaken is a verb. As Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin has said, Russia with its back against the wall, an important expression, your back against the wall means you're pushed. It is like you're cornered, you have been cornered. Russia with its back against the wall is warning of a third world war with nuclear weapons. It's a warning. Warning of what? Implications, a wider conflict, warning of a third world war with nuclear weapons. But here you see the indefinite article a third world war. In this context, we have to use, uh, generally, there's a rule that goes with articles. What is it? When we use ordinal numbers, we have to use a definite article, the First World War, the Second World War. But here, warning of a third world war. Based on the context, the article may change. The possibility of a direct Russia West confrontation. Direct confrontation, a wrong expression. Redundancy. Confrontation is always direct, a hostile or argumentative situation or meeting between opposing parties. The possibility of a direct Russia West confrontation makes it the most dangerous moment in global politics since the 1962 Cuban Missile Crisis. If at all, God forbid, it should not happen, the possibility of a direct Russia-West confrontation, Russia on one side and the West on the other side, and a conflict. Imagine the possibility of a direct Russia-West confrontation makes it the most dangerous moment in global politics since the 1962 Cuban Missile Crisis. If both sides still believe in rational policy making, they should immediately look for an off ramp. If both sides still believe in rational policy making, rationality based on reason, based on logic, not based on whims and fancies, if at all they believe in rational policy making, they should immediately look for an off ramp. Off ramp, literal meaning it goes with roads, a short road on which vehicles leave a highway or other main road. In this context, look for a solution. Russia cannot ask for dialogue and peace when continuing to pound Ukrainian cities. On the one hand, Russia it it has been attending the peace talks or it has been talking asking for dialogue and peace, but on the other hand, it has been attacking or pounding. Pound means attack Ukrainian cities. That is not acceptable. Its war machine has slowed down and it is already facing economic and political isolation in Europe. Because of the war, if you take Russia, Russia's war machine has slowed down. One thing, more than that, it means Russia is already facing economic and political isolation in Europe. To get isolated, be away from the mainstream. Alienated, another important word. How does the editorial end? Escalating this conflict, escalate, increase rapidly. Escalating this conflict, bringing the whole world into danger, does not serve anybody's interest. Here, if this goes on and gets escalated, then the whole world is in danger. That is one thing, bringing the whole world into danger, and it does not serve anybody's interest. No one is going to get benefited. Instead, the main idea is being reiterated. Instead, Moscow should immediately end the attacks and support the UN Secretary General's mission of finding a peaceful solution that could address the security concerns of both Ukraine and Russia. It is nothing but the last sentence talks about the main idea. Moscow should immediately end the attacks and support the UN Secretary General's mission of finding a peaceful solution that could that could deal with the security concerns of both Ukraine and Russia. Consolidate your grammar knowledge based on editorial grammar. Backing the efforts of, back someone, support someone, backing the efforts of someone or something. Feeling the heat of the conflict. You feel the heat of the conflict. What does it mean? The heat of the conflict, the heat of the war, means the negative impact of the war. Public opinion is heavily against the war. Public opinion is heavily, adverb, against the war, a phrase. If the party is concerned, this is very good. An important one you have to recollect, consolidate. If the party is concerned, usually people say, if the concerned party showed seriousness, not correct. When someone goes to an office, usually a person says, I would like to meet the concerned person. That is not correct. We have to say, I would like to meet the person concerned. Concerned person means he has concern for you. Why will he have concern for you? Person concerned means related to a particular department or related to a particular work. If the party is concerned related to the conflict, showed seriousness in ending the war. In ending the war, again, an important phrase. Ukraine's resistance did not only deny, not only but also, parallel expression you have to recollect, but not only denied would have been better. Here, did not only deny. What is the reason? This is something very important you have to. There's nothing wrong with this. First, I said while doing the analysis, they should have used the verb in not in the past form, in the same form. But the reason why it hasn't been used here, generally, the pattern, Ukraine's resistance, please listen very carefully. Ukraine's resistance not only denied, regular pattern, denied, galvanized, same form, parallel expression. But for the first clause, the writer has used emphatic form, did not only deny. When you say, I denied, casual statement, I did deny, emphatic statement. So here it has been used, the second pattern, not the regular pattern. Very important. You may get something like this in the exam. Then, under pressure, you may think it should be in the same form. So there's an error over here. No, it is not. Nothing wrong with the sentence. Grammatically, contextually, the sentence is flawless. Russia with its back against the wall, back against the wall. If someone has been pushed to a corner or someone has been cornered, then we use the expression back against the wall. And the person has no choice as such, does not serve anybody's interest, anyone's interest. It serves some purpose, it doesn't serve any purpose. I use sometimes, it doesn't serve any purpose. That means what? It is of no use. Let us go to editorial questions, enhance your comprehension skill. Based on this editorial, what are the questions you can think of? What is this editorial about? As usual, it is better if you write in brief in your own sentences. That helps in the long run. What did the carefully drafted statement avoid? The carefully drafted statement avoided something. What did the statement avoid? Easy to answer based on the key words. What has a stalemate increased? The stalemate has increased to something, the risks of something. So here the key word stalemate. What makes it the most dangerous moment in global politics since the 1962 Cuban Missile Crisis? So many key words, easy to navigate, locate, and write the answer. But I don't know how many of you are writing the answers. When you write the answers, don't write the key words. That is of no use. You have to write the complete sentence, and that sentence, the answer should be grammatically, contextually correct. For that, you may have to change a few words or word forms. That is the actual skill you have to focus on. You should acquire. What does not serve anybody's interest? Serve anybody's interest. Keywords. Let us go to enrich your word power based on words from the editorial vocabulary. The first one, relentless, part of speech, adjective. Relentless efforts. What does it mean? Please respond. Editorial vocabulary. To be cornered, yes. Continuing in a severe manner, relentless. Answer is I. Very good. Veto power, that is a noun, that is an adjective. What does it mean? A constitutional right to reject something. F is the answer. Unanimous, unanimous opinion, unanimously. What does it mean? Fully in agreement. A lot of people agree on something and there's no division of opinion. Then we say unanimous, an important word. Step up. Step up means what? Increase the intensity, amount, intensity. In this context, intensity. J is the answer. Grind on. Continue for a long time. Something continues for a long time, lasts for a long time. Then we say grind on. H is the answer. Galvanize. Shock or excite into taking action. Someone shock or excite someone into taking action. Answer is B. Rationality based on logic and reason. E is the answer. Incremental gains means what? Happening gradually in small amounts. Answer is C. Stalemate, part of speech, noun. And what does it mean? A situation in which you don't see any progress. There is no further progress. Then we say it has resulted in a stalemate. Escalate, part of speech, verb. And what does it mean? Increase rapidly. From this we get, when we go to a mall, we go to an airport, we come across escalators. Escalate, verb. And what are you left with? Increase rapidly. D is the answer. Very good. That's all from today's editorial. Hope you guys have got enriched. Thank you very much for being with me. And do remember there's a session at 8:45. Bank exams, important questions. Questions, practice questions based on exam topics. Have a nice day. Thank you very much. Do remember to subscribe and share. Join the Telegram group. All that you have to do after the session, go to the description of the video and click on the link. Thank you very much. All those are exam related exercises. Who is this? Raghu. The questions I've been bringing from previous year's papers and based on uh, bank exams and other exams as well. So, what do you mean by please bring exam related exercises? All these exercises are exam related. The very heading says practice questions based on exam topics. Exam topics, error location, exam related. Para jumble, exam related, and fillers, exam related, phrase replacement, exam related, idioms, exam related, phrasal verbs, exam related. That's a bit strange, Raghu. I don't know what exactly you mean by that.